In this video, I'm going to discuss some important terms for the board examination, where definitions are required of these terms. And we begin with and I'm going to discuss only those terms which are actually required in the 2021 ICSE computer applications paper. Access specifier, a way to specify the class member which indicates the scope of its usage in the programs. You may simply write access specifier is there to specify the access of the members of the class. And these three, there are three access specifiers or access modifiers. These are private, public, and protected. All right. Private means a member is accessible with within its own class by its own members. Public is accessible from not only from within its own members or within its own class. It can be accessed from the other classes as well, depending upon the accessibility. All right. Protected is somewhere in between the private and the public, where a member which is declared as protected can be accessed by within its own class members and by the subclasses as well. All right. So that is the difference between different types of access specifiers or modifiers. Then actual parameters, the values which are passed to a function at the time of its call, that is actual parameter. Arithmetic operators to perform arithmetic calculations. Array, a structure created in the memory to store the value with the help of a number of variables having same name but with different subscripts. So keep the definition simple. As I've told you, array is a group of data elements referred by one common name, right? And all the data elements of that group are of similar type, and every element of the array is stored one after the other. All right. After that, students, we have got assignment sign. Assignment operator is the single equal to sign. It assigns a value to a variable. So students, base class, a class which is inherited by another class, is known as base class. Binary search is not in your code, so leave that. BlueJ, a window-based platform to execute a Java program, or you may say it's an IDE to execute a Java program. Now students, after that, Boolean literal, a special literal or constant which holds the value as true or false. So wherever you see true or false, you will say it's Boolean literal. After that, students, break statement that is used to terminate a switch case block, all right, or a loop. Students, break will be written with the small b, Boolean will be written with the small b. Okay, so please keep that in your mind. And now I want to tell you the difference between the break and the exit and the return, right? When we write system.exit, that will terminate the program, right? And return terminates the execution of the function, and break terminates the loop. All right. So bubble sort, a technique for arranging a set of numbers, or it means any type of data. Why only numbers? Arrange the data by performing various comparison and swapping, where the comparison is done with comparison of an element is done with its next element, and swapping is done depending upon the condition. Okay. Now students, after that, buffer is temporary storage area, a high speed temporary storage area in the computer memory. After that, bytecode, the intermediate binary form of a Java source code obtained after the compilation. You can simply write after the compilation of a Java program, or after the successful execution of the Java program, after successful compilation of a Java program, another file is produced, that is with the extension .class, and the code which it contains is known as the bytecode. After that, there is character. It is a token which may include an alphabet, a number, or a special symbol enclosed within the single quotes. All right, character literal. It's very easy. After that, class, a blueprint or template that describes attributes and behavior of a similar type of object. So you may write class is a group of data member and the member functions, and it is used to create one or more objects of its type, and it can be used as a template to create it can be used to create sorry, let me repeat. Class is a group of data members and a member function, and we can create as many objects as we want from a class. It's a blueprint or template for the object, and we can create one or more objects from a class, one or more classes also from a class. So creating a class from another class is known as inheritance. Creating an object from a class is known as instantiation. Another name for the object is instance. All right. Syntax for object creation is class name, object name equal to new, constructor parenthesis semicolon, and class is also known as object factory, as we can create as many objects as we want from a class. Students, what is comment? A non-executable statement used to describe the purpose of a program or programming statement to the user. You can write it in your own language. So a statement which cannot be executed, but that is there to describe the different steps in the program, that is known as comment. So we have Java we have single line comment, multiple line comment, and documentation. All right, so please refer to the chapter for the comment. Okay, after that, students, we have here next term, that is compiler. So the software which converts the high level language into the machine level language is known as the compiler. But in Java, when the Java compiler converts the source code or the high level language into the bytecode, not into the machine code. Okay, that is the unique thing about Java. What is compound statement? A set of multiple statements written within the braces is called compound statements. Continue, the statement which invokes passes the control to the next iteration of the loop by ignoring the rest of its statement. So you can write it in one line that continue is there to skip the current iteration. That's it. Copy constructor is used to copy the initial value of the instance variable of an object to an instance variable of another object. Data abstraction, act of representing essential features without including the background detail. Data hiding. Data hiding ensures the data cannot be accessed directly outside the class premises, although they are available in the same program. All right, so after that, debugging, the process of correcting the errors or removing the error is called debugging. Bug is used for the error. So debugging means removing the error. Default case, D will be small, remember that. Default, it is the last statement in the switch case construct, which is optional. Okay, it executes when none of the cases matches and the control is passed to default. Okay, after that, student, default constructor. Default constructor is basically the non-parameter or no args constructor. A member method written with the same name as the class name is used to initialize the data members with the default initial values. After that, derived class, a class which inherits a base class. A double dimensional array, it is a constructor. It is a structure created in the memory to contain data values by using rows and column. Then encapsulation, the wrapping up of data and functions together into a single unit, is called encapsulation. Exception handling, the process of eliminating unexpected situation during the execution of a program. Then explicit conversion, when one type of data is converted to the other type of data, it is known as and it is done with the user's intervention. Then it is called the explicit conversion. Okay, or explicit typecasting. Expression, an expression is the combination of two or more than two variables, constants and arithmetic operators to give meaningful result. After that, we have here floating literal. So a real number is called floating literal, that includes a decimal point. And always remember, floating literal is suffixed with small f. And after that, formal parameter, it is used with the function name while defining a function. So whatever the parameter we specify in the function definition is known as formal parameter. Function overloading, it's a process which we define a number of function with the same name but different number and types of arguments. It is called function overloading. And function overloading, students, is basically based upon the concept of polymorphism. Function or method, a program, a module which is used simultaneously at different instances of the program is called. So you can simply write function as a group of executable statements, right? And it is a named entity which is used to implement the logic of the program or the behavior in terms of object oriented terminology. Identifier, it's a name, actually it's a token. Identifier is a token, but it is basically a name given to a function, variable, object, whenever you give a name. So basically you are what you are doing, you are making or creating an identifier. Okay, Now after that, students, we have next, that is implicit conversion. Whenever one type of data is converted to another type of data without the user's intervention, so that is done by the system, that is known as implicit conversion. Okay, implicit conversion is also known as Recursion, COERCIUN. After that, students, impure function, a function which may or may not return a value but can change the state of the object, that is known as impure function. Students, after that, infinite loop, a loop which never ends at the time of at the time of the execution, that is known as the infinite loop. Right, whenever the test expression is never become false, so that loop becomes infinite, or test expression is absent. Okay, now inheritance, when a class is created from an existing class, it is known as inheritance. Okay, or you may say when a class inherits the properties and the behavior of another class, that is basically known as inheritance. Where the class which is being created, the new class, that will be known as the child class or the subclass, and the class from which it inherits, that is known as the base or the superclass or the parent class. Instance variable, a variable declared within the class outside the member function, is known as instance variable. It is non-static. Okay, and every object maintains a copy of the instance variable. After that, integer, a whole number may be positive or negative. So after that, interpreter, the software which converts high level instructions into the machine level language line by line, so that is interpreter. After that, JDK, it contains Java class library or JCL to perform different tasks during the Java programming. Okay, then JVM, the interpreter which converts bytecode to machine code suitable to a specific platform. Okay, so that is known as Java Virtual Machine. It is a software, always remember. Students, after that, library class, it is a set of inbuilt functions used to support the programmers for developing effective programming logic. Linear search, a technique of searching a data from a given set of data items linearly or sequentially. It is applicable to sorted as well as the unsorted data. Okay, that is the best thing about the linear search, that it can be performed upon the sorted as well as unsorted data. Literal, a constant or the value which is assigned to a variable or a constant is actually known as the literal. If anybody asks what is that, so you will say this is a token. And how many types of literals will be there? Will be there as many types of how many types of literals will be there. So that will be basically the number of the types of data will decide the types of literal, means the number of data type equal to the type of literals. After that, students, logical AND. Logical AND is basically a logical operator where which is used with for combining more than one relational expressions or the conditions, and it produces true when both the sides or both the logical relational expressions which is combining are true. Okay, after that, logical error, an error which occurs due to the wrong logic applied in the program. As a result, the desired output is not obtained. After that, logical NOT, it is a unary operator which is used to reverse the outcome of a conditional expression. So if the expression returns false, logical NOT will make it true. If it is true, then it will make it false. So, and the symbol for this sign of exclamation which is used for logical NOT, all the factorial symbol. Okay, after that, logical operators are ampersand, that is logical AND, then pipe sign, this is logical OR, and exclamation sign, that is logical NOT. They are used to result in true or false based collective outcomes of different conditions. So keep the language simple, you can explain it in your own words. Okay, logical OR, it is used to combine one or two or more conditional expressions, and it results into true if any of the any or all the given conditions result into true. After that, students, loop, it is a repetitive structure used in program to repeat a statement or a set of statements for a given number of times. Merging is not in their course, in your course, so leave that. Nested loop, a loop within another loop is called nested loop. All right, I hope everybody is getting the clear idea. After that, students, new operator, please remember new will be written in small letters, so NEW, new will be small. It is used for dynamic allocation, dynamic memory allocation of an object. It helps in creating an object of a class or an array. After that, non-primitive, it is a reference data type which is derived from a primitive data type, that is the non-primitive data type. So array is class, array and class are the reference data types, and these are the non-primitive data types. Okay. After that, null loop, a loop containing no statement in its body, that is called the null loop. So such loop is terminated with a semicolon. And remember, it is not, I'm not talking about the do while loop. All right. After that, oak, formal name of the Java language, named after a tree outside the Gosling's office or Sun Microsystems office. That's oak. Earlier Java was named as oak. After that, object, a unique entity which contains characteristics and behavior in an object-oriented programming language. Okay. After that, object code, Java interpreter, JVM converts bytecode into the machine code suitable to a specific program is known as object code. All right. After that, OOP, acronym for object-oriented programming, in which emphasis is put on the data rather than function. Operands, the values variables which are involved in the operation, means operands are the ones upon which certain operation is performed. It is as simple as that. Operator, a symbol which is used to perform certain operation. It can be logical operation, arithmetic operation. Then package, a package is a collection of class which are included in a program as per the need of the user. Okay. After that, parameterized constructor, it is a member function which is with the same name as the class name, used to initialize the object's instance variable. After that, pass by reference, the reference of actual parameter is passed to the formal parameter such that any change made in the formal parameter reflects on the actual parameter. Then pass by value, when the actual parameter is copied to the formal parameter in such a way that the change made in the formal parameter does not bring any change in the actual parameter. All right, so if you learn one definition, so it says reflects on the actual parameter, and here it does not reflects on the actual parameter, any change on the actual parameter. After that, polymorphism, the process of you can simply, this is a wrong definition given over there, I'm just telling you the correct definition. Polymorphism is basically the process of processing a message, one message in different forms. When a message is processed in more than one form, it is called polymorphism, where poly stands for many and morph stands for form. POP is basically procedural oriented programming, in which stress is laid on the function rather than data. Postfix, an operator that increases or decreases the value of an operand after the action is performed. Prefix, an operator that increases or decreases the value of an operand by one before the action has taken place. And prefix and postfix, plus plus and minus minus, two operators are there. They come in two flavors, that is, one is postfix and the other is prefix. Then specifier, private, the data member of the member method which can be used within the scope of a class, right? Only accessible by the members of the class. Then primitive data, the data type which is independent of any other type. Then protected, they are used as private members for the base class but can be accessed to a derived class if required. After that, public, the data member or member methods which are also accessible even outside the visibility, outside the class, that is public. Okay. Now next one is students. We have here punctuators. It is a special character used to add punctuation. Signs, that is parenthesis, this is colon, question mark, etc. in the program. Semicolon was there, sorry. Then pure function, a function which returns a value to its caller but does not change the state of an object. So you have to simply write function may return or may not return a value, but that does not change the state of the object, right? So that is pure function, and the best example is the display method. Okay. After that, students, recursive function, a function is calling itself. Just one line, a function is calling itself, is known as the recursive function. Not in your course, leave that. Relational operator, an operator to show the relationship between the operator between the operands and compare the values of the variable. All right, so this is what we call relational operator. Then runtime error, Very important, the error that occurs during the execution of a program when compiler does not respond properly to a given statement, right? The runtime error which is occurred during the runtime, like divide by 0, right? Or when the array in the array you try to access an element beyond the size of the, means beyond the index, available index in the array. Suppose the array size is 5 and you are trying to write to access the array with the index 5, which does not exist because index will be up to 4, 0 to 4. After that, scope of variable, it is the extent of usability, visibility of a variable in the program. After that, selection sort not in your code, separator, a special character which is used to separate the characters, variable or a part of expression. After that, single dimensional array, it is a structure created in the memory to represent a number of data values in the variable with the same name having a single subscript. After that, source code, a Java program developed by the user to be compiled and executed in a program. Then static method, a member method which declares static, can only use the static data members. All right, so it is you do not need to create object to call the static method. It is called by using the class name, okay, because it belongs to the class only. After that is string, a set of characters enclosed within double quotes, that is known as a string, or you may call it a string literal as well. Then switch case, it is a multiple branching statement which is used to execute a block or a set of statement by ignoring other blocks based on a given switch value or control variable. Syntax error, and error occur due to grammatical mistakes such as spelling error, punctuation error, missing parentheses, etc. Then ternary operator works on 3 operands, also known as conditional operators. Question mark, colons are there. Then token, each individual element used in a Java statement. Typecasting, a process by which data type gets converted after user intervention. Then unary operator, an operator which is used with a single operand. Then user control loop, a loop in which number of iterations is based on the user's requirement. After that, void, it is a non-returnable data type, means it simply denotes that function returns nothing. All right, students, I hope it's clear to you all. Thanks everyone.